how does a Jeffersonian dinner work, and what kind of skills would a person need to bring that off?
You know, the dinner itself is a connector. It's a way to open relationships with others. I was at Monticello, I was chairman of Monticello, Thomas Jefferson's home, and we used to have these amazing dinners and by candlelight, and everyone would sit and feel the energy of Mr. Jefferson because Mr. Jefferson had amazing people at the table, and he really wanted to hear what everybody else had to say, and so everyone listened. And so why not have that same format in everyday dinners that we have today? And the frustration in my own heart of going to 1,000-person galas and fundraisers and not connecting. Being there because somebody asked me, I talked to the person next to them about their kids or their dog, we hear somebody speak and perform, and then you go home. And what a wasted 2.5 hours. Or a cocktail party where you have 50 people and somebody does a speech and then everybody else goes home. And where's the connection there? So said, let's take that dinner, 12 to 15 people, and let's get people to open up and have a whole table conversation. The mind is better if they're with other minds talking in common thought and common issues. And so then to the point we talked about before on the public narrative, let's mix a little bit of Marshall Ganz's thought of the public narrative, this me, we, and now, strategy, and use it in the dinner. So let's have an opening question that allows people to connect. And so with Wendy Kopp, we did a dinner on educational innovation, and opening question was, who's your favorite teacher of all time? And halfway around the table, people were crying because they're understanding what, from the heart, people believe is a good teacher. And then we carried on the conversation after 2 minutes each as to what do we believe the issues are around keeping great teachers and what the things that we can do to help. And then, so that's the we, and then the now, toward the end, you say, what's happening? What's going to happen from here? What are you going to do? What do you want to know about? Is there somebody at the table that you connected with and you want to follow up with? And so it's an opening set of relationships that then continue on past the dinner. And so I do this on my own vacations with my family and other families, and my 14-year-old comes up with amazing topics and questions. And I just have a hard time going back to the 1,000-person dinners. But the Jeffersonian dinner seems to be a theme, and we've done hundreds and hundreds of these. We have a challenge in the next 3 months to do 100 of them by the end of December. And it's happening. Lots of people are doing them. It's a great way to raise funds because there's no pitches. It's just figuring out relationships. And it's a great way to find others who are passionate about your causes. And trust me, after every dinner, over half the people would love to host the dinner, the next dinner, because they have such a great time.
Yeah, and I would just add to your point, your point about stories and Labarthe, Phil, that opening question, it's so critical that it's evoking people to tell their story, not share an idea. And so the dinners that I've seen that aren't as successful is when the question is maybe, talk about an innovation in your life that made a difference, because then people are saying the iPad. It's not really getting to the heart of who we are as people and how similar we are, and how when we break down those barriers, it doesn't matter. And by the way, we send bios out in advance, and so people actually know what people do in general, and that's fine, because we do want to know that. But then we also want to know who each other is and why we come to the table and what values do we share. And so I think that's a really key part of that opening question. And then after that, diving deeper into, what are the potential issues that we're looking to solve for here, and how might we as a group come together to do that. And I also find that very powerful, because when 10 people come together, 10 to 12 people come together and, in any scenario, in any time, in any place, and say we're going to make up our minds collectively to make a difference, things happen. And so there's a sense of solidarity that gets built in these dinners they're palpable. You can absolutely feel them. And that's a key part, that's a node in the generosity network that is very powerful. And it just breaks down walls so quickly.
You can do this anywhere, anytime. host it. It's not that hard, but there is some fear. Some people say, I've never used this format. Can I really tell people that I'm inviting to dinner that they're not allowed to talk to the person next to them? They have to talk to the whole table. Bottom line is people love that. I mean, I've had people come in and say, I could never really hear what was going on at the table. This is great. Or, I really was frustrated because the person across the table I really wanted to get to know, I never did, And so all of a sudden this opens up. And what it takes also is some light moderation. So somebody there who will listen and make sure that voices are heard around the table, that there's no dominant personalities. And again, there's no pitches. You may have subject experts. You may have somebody who has a nonprofit that's really amazing, and you talk to them about how are you relating to building strength for new teachers and keeping them in class and great examples and stories. But you're not there to raise money. You're really there just to start opening relationships.